Hello, so my name is Jerry Vanacek. I am a training consultant for McDonald's, and I worked at McDonald's for 15 years. That's a little bit about my career-wise. And as far as the personal side, I'm married. I've been married for 10 years, have 3 kiddos, ranging from 1-year-old to 8 years old. So I've got my hands full at work and at home. So tell me about your past work experience. As I mentioned, I've been with McDonald's for 15 years, and I started when I was 15 as a crew person in El Paso, Texas. So I started working as a crew person, worked my way up through the ranks, crew person, shift manager, assistant manager, store manager, up to supervisor. So it's the restaurant business, managing the restaurant business, managing multiple units. That's really been my experience. My most recent experience is that of a training consultant, where what I do is I work for the corporation and I put on training classes or training seminars for managers, supervisors, owner-operators, and kind of help owner-operators with their restaurants with their training needs that they might have. Describe a time when you worked well on a team. So I think back to a time, obviously I work on a team right now. There's a team of 7 training consultants, and my career with McDonald's has really been all about working with teams. But I can think back on a time where I was a store manager, and we had just taken over a McDonald's restaurant that was in a smaller town, and we had a lot of opportunities. We lost a lot of our staff. We lost about half of our staff within the first few days, and it was me and one of my coworkers and our supervisor at that time, where it was the 3 of us that were really running it and trying to work on training, trying to turn things around. It took a lot of hours. We were putting in 13, 14 hours a day, and we started trying to identify what was the root cause of the issue. We were working together to try and figure this out, but it took a lot of each of us, a lot of dedication, a lot of our time, working late hours, working opposite shifts where we weren't there to support each other at the same time. We were working around the clock, making sure that there was one of us there at every time of the day. So we really stuck together as a team, identified that we need to hire some people. How can we train them? What can we do to turn these things around? And the result, we ended up being able to turn things around, to start with a fresh team, replace those that we lost, hire them, train them properly, and ultimately the restaurant was running much better. Describe a time, or tell me about a time when you had too many things to do and had to prioritize your tasks. So I would think my current role as a training consultant, when I was a supervisor, I interviewed for this position, and it was, when I got the job, it was totally different than what I was used to. There was a lot of different things going on at the same time. So instead of just supervising restaurants, now as a training consultant, I had to learn this job role. One of the requirements was to either have or be working on an associate's degree. I had to learn the new job. I had to do the new job. And there's secondary duties that I have to do with my job as well. So what I did is I had to prioritize them. So my first priority was learn my current job. And that was my top priority. That's where I spent most of my efforts. However, I would make sure that I put everything that I had to do on the calendar. So I know that furthering my education needed to be something that I'm putting on my calendar and spending time every week doing so. In-house, there's training that I had to do with McDonald's, so I had to make sure that was on the schedule on my calendar. So I would say that the thing that I did to make me successful was putting everything on my calendar, having a plan in place, and making sure that I'm working that plan every week. And I've been able to do that. That's what has helped me to be able to be a successful training consultant. So tell me about a time when you had to go above and beyond the call of duty. How did you handle the situation? As a training consultant, I put on these training classes. When I go to restaurants, a lot of the times they look at me as the owner-operator, for instance, looks at me as I am a training consultant and like I'm going to help with training only. So I've got that label of trainer. And when I would say I went above and beyond, I can think of this time that I worked with this owner-operator where I went to the restaurant and he was asking for assistance with training. hey, well, how can you help me with training? Let's look at training. He was having some opportunities in the restaurant. Things weren't running good. They were getting poor scores on their graded visits. Customers were complaining a lot, and there was quite a few issues. So where I would say I went above and beyond is I took off my thinking hat as a trainer, because I was able to look and say, I don't think training is the issue here. So I start thinking a different way. Let me look at this and try and identify what is the problem. Let's go to the root cause here. So rather than to just think about what my job is as a trainer, I just looked at it as a consultant in general. How can I help this owner-operator? And as we went through that day looking at what's going on in the restaurant, one of the things that we determined is that they were shorthanded. We looked at their schedule. We saw that they're shorthanded just about every day, and identified that training was not the issue. The issue is that they've been shorthanded. They've been short-staffed. So I look at my current job as, sure, that's what I have to do. That's my current job. That's where my passion is. However, when you're helping somebody, let's look at the bigger picture here. Instead of looking at my title as trainer and all I can do is train, how can I assist you in other ways as well? And so we were able to fix that shorthanded issue. Tell me about a time when you worked effectively under pressure. I would say that was when I was a supervisor of multiple restaurants. And I can think of several times, one of the most recent times a couple of years ago before I took this job, we were kind of struggling with some of our graded visits. Things were down, and it was hard for me to get the store managers that worked under me. It was hard for me to get them to have that same sense of urgency that I had. And what I did is I just said, I can't lose track of where we're trying to go. So I kept focused on what the goals were and what the objectives were. And along the ways, I was working individually, one-on-one with these store managers, in identifying why is it that they're not doing things the way they should. Why are they not getting the results that they should? And I didn't look at it from the approach of one size fits all. I looked at each. I had 4 store managers that worked for me. I looked at each one of them as an individual, and I looked at them as 4 different situations. And we worked through those. Some of them, they were struggling with training. Some of them were struggling with time management. Some of them were spending all day just fighting fires instead of working smart. They were just there, doing the things that maybe a crew person should have been doing. So I evaluated everybody individually, put an action plan together on how we can fix this, and I worked with them individually to get the restaurants where they should be, but also to help them with their management style as well, and they were better for it in the end. Give an example of a time when you showed initiative. Recently, I know there was an owner-operator who I had heard from somebody else that they were asking for my contact information to get a hold of me because they needed some support with a couple of things, and I didn't hear from them. About a week went by, and so I went ahead and took the initiative and called the owner-operator myself, and without that operator asking for assistance, I offered my assistance and said, hey, I'd like to spend some time with you, just see your organization, see if there's any way that maybe I could be of some assistance to you in your organization. And I was able to spend some time with that owner-operator, and I think that that opened up the door for him to tell me some of the things that he was needing some help with. Also opened up the door for me to observe some additional things that maybe he didn't see, and I was able to give my feedback on that, as well as help with the original things that he wanted to talk to me about as well. So we were able to work through those things. And as far as anything else I'd like for you to know about me, just to summarize it, I would say that I really enjoy working as a team member. Any way you look at it, any position never really matters to me. Who's my boss? Who's not my boss? Who works for me? Who do I work for? But we're a team, and how can we help one another out? And I've noticed that you can help out your boss with their development. It's not only the people that are working under you or working for you. So it's just being a team player, being willing to help out, being willing to do whatever it is that you need to do, and help others to move along the way as well. So thank you for your time.